We're back with season 2 of SFC, short for Swing for Contact. If you didn't know by now, didn't work, but whatever. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Aden Norton and Johnathan Ramey. We're very excited to be back, talk baseball. Ever since the Cowboys got booted out of the playoffs, I've just been, hopelessly just existing in what we call Earth. So yeah, I'm excited about this baseball season. How about y'all?
Given I've had to watch NBA basketball for the past couple months and almost nothing but that, I need baseball like right now. Pretty upset with the MLB for not streaming the Rangers spring training game tomorrow. I don't know why we don't stream all of those games, given they're all in Arizona. Don't think it'd be that hard, but it's the MLB. It's streaming websites. They all suck, basically. So
that's true. And you mentioned NBA, and here's how much that I wish I cared more about the NBA. I used to really enjoy watching it. I didn't even know the All-Star game happened last weekend. It wasn't until the day after I was like, oh, that happened. Cool. So getting back into baseball, it's going to be a grand old time. Today, because we're all AL West boys. Let's just call it what it is. So why don't we end on the AL West? We're going to start NL East. Talk a little NL East today. Next time, Central, NL West, AL East, down to the West. And we'll end it with a bang right before the season starts with the teams that we know a little bit better than everybody else.
I feel like boring divisions in baseball just because it's ran by one team every year pretty much. But looking at the 2023 standings, we had obviously the Braves at the top of that division with 104 wins, 58 losses. And we had the Fighting Phils with 90 wins and 72 losses. The Marlins that snuck into the playoffs with 84 wins and 78 losses. Then the Mets, which they meted, they had 75 wins, 87 losses. And then the Nationals, who I thought were going to do a lot worse than they did, managed to be a 71-win ball team and finished with 91 losses. So, yeah, those were the 2023 standings. Nothing too surprising about it. This year, Fangraphs has the Braves projected at 97 wins and 65 losses. Johnathan Ramey, let's go through some key offseason moves that the Atlanta Braves had this offseason.
We mentioned the AL West. They bring over Jared Kelenic, who I used to say Kelenic, I think, because I was an idiot and didn't know any better. Kelenic. And that trade with Seattle, probably going to be their everyday left fielder, I would imagine. A plus glove, really good defensively. And he's been kind of waiting to have a breakout offseason year, right? You surround him with guys like Acuna and Olsen, Albies, that Braves team. It's hitting's contagious, right? I think the Rangers kind of found that out last year. Hitting's freaking contagious. When you start hitting, everybody starts hitting. So maybe this move for Kelenic really wakes up his bat and gets him to be the potential all-star guy that everyone kind of thought he was in the minors. They brought in two more free agent guys. Well, a trade with the Angels for David Fletcher and Luis Guillorme as a free agent signing to play middle infield behind their two guys playing middle infield. I'm not sure long-term what either one of those guys really do for them. Unless, something crazy happens with Albies. But then the big move relatively recently was the Chris Sale trade with Boston. Probably slots in as their 3 or 4 because the Braves are that deep where Chris Sale is a 4 for them. Adding a veteran lefty, playoff experience, has pitched in the ALCS, has pitched in a World Series. They even got a discount on his contract. Boston's retaining some of that money. So I think that's only an addition for them. They signed Ronaldo Lopez to be in that back end of the bullpen, 3 years for $30 million. A lot to shore up on a reliever that's not a closer, but should pair nicely with like a Rysel Iglesias in that 7-8 role, leading to Rysel in the 9th. And then a lefty, Aaron Bummer, trade with the White Sox. So, the rich get richer. They went out and picked up starting pitching. They went and picked up bullpen. They went and picked up an outfielder. So I think this Braves team looked at what holes they had in the playoffs and tried to address them all off season. They get an A from me.
Yeah, I really Kellenic, he was in that Seattle lineup, and a big problem with him was the strikeouts, and he was a big strikeout guy, so he kind of added to that. So getting to another lineup where him striking out won't be as much of a big deal is going to be pretty big for him. Sale, the question is, can he stay healthy? I mean, he's going to be really good if he is healthy. If he's not healthy, it's just going to be the same thing it's been with the Braves rotation, I feel like, past couple of years. They struggle with health, and age is starting to become a concern for me in that rotation. Like they've got such a big window with their lineup because how young they are, how long they've got them locked up. And then I look at the starting rotation, I'm like, these guys are kind of old. Like they're getting up there. Freed seems to have an injury scare every year. What's his name? Did Wright resign or is Wright gone?
Wright is no longer in that rotation.
He's gone. Okay.
He's with Kansas City, I think.
Yeah, he went. I think it was Kansas City because Kansas City kind of spent this year. I really like the Aaron Bummer move. It's kind of a no risk given what they gave up. And Aaron Bummer, he didn't have the best ERA. It was like in the 6s, but his FIP was in the 3s, I think. Like his expected ERA. He was literally, he gets ground balls in the infield, and the White Sox ground ball defense last year was pretty trash. So he should really help that bullpen out, and I think it'll be a good thing for them. I like what they did. Feel they should be better than last year. Hopefully not their first round exit again. So
I feel like we're like on a old like wooden boat. Every time Aden rolls around.
Dude, why are you drinking water out of a Tito's vodka cup, bro? Good team. Like you said, Raymond probably filled up some holes that they had in the playoffs. A couple years ago, this Brissell move would have had me drop to my knees, but he's old. Maybe it'll benefit him. Like Aden said, if he can stay healthy. And if we can get Jared Kaepernick to just fill in a role, play a role, be a dude, be a hitter, like you said, hitting's contagious. I think it'll benefit them really, really well. Because didn't he have like that one hot stretch, like the beginning of last season?
Yeah, I think his April-May last year was really good, and then he cooled off in the summer.
Yeah, so maybe if there can be like little consistency and drag that out a little bit longer, we'll see some big numbers from him. But anyways, moving on.
It helps when you have a lineup with guys like 6 top 100 players in that lineup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Between Acuna, Olsen, Riley, Albies, Azuna, and Michael Harris. 1 through 6, they're really deep. Not to mention Sean Murphy, who's one of the better catchers in Major League Baseball. So like, there's no pressure on Kelenic to perform. He just has to go out there and get better and play ball with these dudes. So I think that's, just added benefit from the glove side with him. Not NRC at shortstop again. Whatever he gives you offensively is just gravy on top. There's no pressure on those two guys to perform at the plate. Obviously, don't want them to be bad at the plate, but they don't have to be phenomenal at the plate.
I do want to see Murphy put together a full year this year. Like after the All-Star break last year, he kind of he fell off big. That was a big reason for their playoff woes too. That and the fact Acuna just didn't show up in the playoffs as well. So
that hurts. Does Acuna go back-to-back MVP?
He's probably my favorite right now.
He's got to be top 5, I think, on everybody's list, right? He's at least in that conversation, no matter what.
I don't have any other year. I'd say Ohtani. Ohtani's not in my top 15 for the NL this year. He's a DH. I don't think a DH will win the MVP.
It's very hard.
saw a lot of people complaining because he wasn't number one on the MLB list. You can't put a guy that's going to DH this year only at one, especially when you had a guy that just had a 40-70 year.
Yeah, 40-70. So 70 stolen bases might not be feasible, but 40-40 back to back, like probably, as long as he stays on the field, power numbers stay true. I think last year's probably peak Acuna, but does he have enough juice to go 40 home runs again? I think that's my biggest question with him. You mentioned pitching with that rotation being like Strider and Fried anchor the top of the lineup. Max Fried's in a walk year contract wise, so there's a lot of probably desire on his end to stay healthy and stay on the bump. You mentioned Chris Sale getting on in age, not to mention Charlie Morton's getting up there pretty good too. They can still sling the ball.
Morton, that's what I was thinking of. He's just old.
Yeah, he's old man Chuck. Bryce Elder, I think, is going to get a full season at the 5. So,
yeah.
See what you get from him. Good thing for the Braves is that he's not going to probably play into their starting pitching in the postseason as long as their old men stay good to go.
Yeah.
Rysell's gross. AJ Minter's been there, done that. And then the Reynaldo signing gives them a really strong 7, 8, 9. So pitching wise, I don't think there's a whole lot of question marks for the Braves. The old man injuries is their biggest one, but as far as talent, it's all there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see them repeat as division champions again, and maybe they won't choke in the playoffs.
Maybe. Fangraphs has 97, over under 97.
I go over. I think they can win 100.
I'll take the over. Yeah.
I'm over too. I don't think there's any way this team doesn't win 100 games. Like, I think the wheels would massively have to fall off.
Houston's the only team I think they have 100 for, and I don't know. I feel like Dodgers maybe, and then Braves I feel like are like a lock for 100 too.
We'll find out. Right now, they have them as a 98% chance in the playoffs.
Just see Noah looking at the screen for some reason.
Everybody watching this video is going to be thinking what I'm thinking, but I'm not going to say anything. Let's continue.
Sorry, I just saw Noah's face.
How thirsty are you?
What are you talking about?
Proceed. Anyways, Atlanta Braves, you're going to repeat. If you're a Braves fan, you're going to have a good regular season. Go out to some games. Go get a hot dog. Go see Little Baby in downtown ATL. This is your only good sports team. Congratulations. All right, moving on to the worst city in America, Philadelphia Phillies.
Worst city in America, huh?
Yeah, screw the Eagles.
Okay.
Fangraphs has them projected as an 84-win ball team with 78 losses. Can I take the reins on this?
Go for it.
Okay.
Your favorite city?
Some key offseason moves. They extended Aaron Nola to a 7-year deal for 172 milli. They added Whit Merrifield and Spencer Turnbull. What an interesting last name. And free agency. And Craig Kimbrell moves on. And Rhys Hoskins, who missed last year, he signed with the Brewers, didn't he?
Yep.
I have an autographed Rhys Hoskins card, by the way. Anyways, so yeah, those are some key offseason moves. We know they made it to the NLCS last year. Not a lot going on in the buyer's market for them. Let 2 of their main pieces come up. But I mean,
what I've heard,
you're moving
they could be in on Monty. So
no.
I think they kind of have to be in on Monty.
It's Monty. No. They apparently offered Yoshi the highest contract, and he just wanted. He was a Dodger. I mean, that's how it is now, I guess. But Monty's probably their best option to go for right now. I don't know if anyone's going to reach the asking price.
Another lineup was 6 top 100 players expected. Full year for Harper at first base. Schwarber doesn't have to worry about playing the field this year, which will be really good for them. Marsh and Rojas can cover ground and left and center, which is good for that ballpark because there's a lot of space out there in those areas. And then you just hope Castellanos makes the routine plays, right? That's their game plan for defense. I think this is a real prove it year though for Bohm and for Stott. Stott plus defender at second base had a 280, 329, 419 triple slash and a near 4 WAR player. Pretty good. And so can Stott build on that? And then for Bohm, though, as a career third baseman, minus 46 DRS, minus 11 outs above average. Next year he goes into arbitration. And if you're going to be the Phillies playoff contending starting third baseman, if you're going to play that bad a defense on the metrics, you've got to be able to slug. And he hasn't really done that yet. And so I feel like for Bohm, this is kind of a make or break year. Like, what kind of a player are you going to be? So to me, that's the storyline that I'm looking at for them.
Kind of wish they taught Rhys Hoskins how to play third base. Like, I'm not a Bohm fan. He Philly fans will tell you all year, oh, he improved so much on defense last year. Okay, he went from the worst defender to the third worst. Like, that's kind of a major improvement for him because he still sucked on defense. He's not some amazing bat. Like, he's like an average bat and a terrible defender. They could really use a new third baseman. And I'm not a big Matt Chapman fan, but he'd probably bring a lot more value than Bohm does. But Matt Chapman is also asking for a Scott Boras contract, so.
No, you mentioned Nola being extended. Wheeler's going into his walk year. He'll be an unrestricted free agent next year. Suarez got to 120 innings last year, but how much more can he get stretched out to? Taijuan Walker at the 4 spot, who's going to pitch in the 5. Andrew Painter's still in the IL from his Tommy John issue. Spencer Turnbull, like we mentioned earlier, was brought in at free agency, but there's kind of some pitching questions, not to mention Kimbrel left. So now Alvarado has to be the closer. So what's the back end of that bullpen really going to look like? I feel like the lineup is going to do its thing, but I've got some serious pitching questions for a playoff run. I feel like they have to add a starter and a reliever to be a believable NLCS World Series team.
I don't know if you could see me whenever the Wheeler was being mentioned. I was shaking my head about him being an unrestricted. Yeah, I was just hoping you saw that. I find it so hard to believe he's gonna make it to next year without a contract extension. Like, I don't see it happening. If the Phillies let him go, if the Phillies don't give him what he asked for, I feel like they deserve what's going to happen, and that's going to be a complete pitching lineup just disaster because Wheeler really anchors that down. He's one of the best postseason pitchers that I've watched in the past couple of years. I mean, he just goes out there and shoves basically. Yeah, I was wrong last year. I thought Nola was a bit better, and Wheeler just said no, I am, and basically proved me wrong. I like Walker in the 4 or 5. Like, I'm a big Walker fan. I like Suarez. Suarez usually does pretty decent in his playoff games. I don't like how they pitch him like 3 innings sometimes in the playoff games. So I went from last year, I was a bullpen is really important guy. And now this year, I've kind of been disproven that by my own team. I think manager maybe is more important because if you can find out how to work a bullpen, it's kind of wraps. And Josh Sabors went from a 5-something ERA in the regular season to Mariano Rivera, but white in the playoffs. So I don't know. I don't think their bullpen's as big of a problem as I would have thought last year.
Noah?
Yeah, I mean, just putting everything together, uh, they don't really have to worry about any of these other bottom three teams catching up to them, in my opinion. So I think they've got that second spot secured again, pretty much. Um, yeah, I mean, pretty much y'all took the cake on that. I like Aden's statement about bringing in Chapman, but Chapman, hot take, Chapman's not worth the money that he's asking for. Sorry, hate me, I don't care. Um, yeah, you pretty much covered it all. Zach Wheeler, my sleeper pick in last year's SFC fantasy draft. He carried my pitching rotation. So yeah, good times with the Philadelphia Phillies. So I hate Philly. Anyways, moving on
Oh, one
to
second.
the.
1 second.
Oh,
Phillies
sorry.
last year won 90. This year
Yeah,
projected
that's
for
right.
84. So 84 and a half over under for the Phillies.
I said last year I don't think they were going to come out slow, and then they came out slow again. So they didn't like hit how many wins I thought they would. 84 is such a good line. Like I think they win like 87. Like, it's such a good line for me.
I'll take the over on 84.
Man, like I said, 84 is probably a good line for this. I think slightly over 85, 86, maybe 87. But I don't think they're a 90 win ball team on paper right now to me in the regular season. I think they're still a wild card team that maybe gets hot at the right time and ready to go. But like I said, I've got some questions about this team, honestly. All right, the New York Mets. Mets are gonna Met. Last year, your New York Mets went 75 and 87, finished fourth. Currently, Fangraphs has them 81 and 81. I don't know. This one might be tough here. Key offseason moves. Harrison Bader brought in free agency to cover center field, which pushes Nimmo to left field. What I missed this time?
I'll tell you later. We'll tell you after.
I can't wait. They did add 2 starting pitchers in free agency, Luis Severino and Sean Manaea. They traded for Adrian Hauser from Milwaukee as well. Bullpen additions, Jake Diekman from the left, really funky. I don't know if you ever used him in the show, but he's usually a fun little like battle royale card to get from the left side. They brought in Fujinami and former closer for the Baltimore Orioles, Jorge Lopez, who has had kind of a weird career since leaving Baltimore. Hey, good news for the Mets is that they only are retaining $50 million in salaries from their trades last year this season. So that number has gone down by almost half. So good for them.
Well, listen, look. Obviously, that we thought the Mets were going to be the Dodgers, is what they are now. That's what I thought they were going to be, and then that just kind of went downhill.
Really quickly.
Yeah. The ownership front office said that they're not going to be competitive until here in a couple more years, anyways. But you know what? You're going to suck. Bring in some fun names. Bring in a Harrison Bader or a Sean Manaea or a Fujinami. Bring in some fun names. You're going to suck. Have fun while sucking. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. So
I've talked to a couple of Mets fans. I actually one asked me what I'm putting over underline for. I think I said like 77, 78 because I don't see it with the Mets. He thought they were going to be better than last year, but this outfield the outfield does not move me at all. I'm not a big Harrison Bader guy. Nemo's good. Marte, is he gonna be good this year? Is he gonna go back to sucking again? Like, who knows? Brett Beatty has got to figure it out this year. I think like he's got to get something going. I like Alvarez. I mean, he's gonna hit home runs. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. Kodai Senga, he's out to start the year. I hate that for them. Like he's one of the best pitchers in the league, in my opinion. Like I think he's a top 10 pitcher. And
How long is he out for?
I don't think it's been announced yet, but let me see what the injury was real quick.
Okay.
Well, when did this happen? I didn't hear about it.
It happened like today, I think.
That's why. Okay, I missed it too. While you're doing that, in the lineup, obviously, Pete Alonso, there's been a lot of information circulating his free agency coming up and extension or not extension. What are the Mets going to do? It kind of feels like they're going to let him go, I think.
Who?
Alonso. That's my early feel on that. But the Polar Bear and Lindor at the top of the lineup they're going to do good things. It's just a matter of what are they going to get from everybody else around them. You mentioned Francisco Alvarez, really important for them. Brett Beatty, the WRC plus of 68 last year is not going to get it done. To me, he's the storyline in the lineup. If they're going to be better than 500, it's going to be because Brett Beatty came along. If they're going to be below 500, it's going to be because Brett Beatty's not the guy.
So he has a mild strain of his posterior capsule in his shoulder.
Do you know what posterior is, Aden?
No clue. That's your right there. So they don't have a timetable for his return.
No, in the back, idiot.
So they don't have a timetable for his return. But speaking of pitchers, Brooks Raley is kind of a legend on the show team. So good things coming for him this year. That's my prediction.
How does their how does their farm system look?
They got
good, kind of good now. I mean,
because they got Houston's number one. What's his name? They've got. I'm not as big on Acuna, his little brother, as everyone else has been. Like Luis, he's a contact guy. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs. He doesn't walk a lot. Like he's going to play good defense. Is he going to move to short? I mean, is he going to move to second? I think you kind of got to project him to move to second, maybe an outfielder position. I just don't know. He doesn't come with the power I like. He's going to steal bases, of course. He's going to hit for average, but I don't know. I'm not as high on him as others. That's why whenever I found out we were trading just him for Scherzer, I was kind of happy about that because we were going to have to trade him no matter what. So
between Acuna, Drew Gilbert from the Astros, Jet Williams they brought in, who's a shortstop. Ronnie Mauricio is a utility guy. Another catcher at Kevin Parada. Ryan Clifford as a first baseman. They've got a handful of guys that are in the top 100. Francisco Alvarez last year was the third ranked prospect in 2023.
That's crazy to me.
They haven't released, MLB's pipeline hasn't released their 24 rankings yet, but I'd imagine they're going to have 4 or 5 guys in the top 100. So, I mean, they've got dudes coming.
Speaking of Gilbert, I was talking to an Astros fan on Twitter the other day, and we were talking about the farms.
Talking.
Yeah, sorry, typing to a Astros fan on Twitter the other day. We're talking
yelling
about
at each
farm
other.
Systems, basically, to be honest, because he was like, farm systems don't matter, and I was like, you realize y'all's whole dynasty was kind of built through the farm, right? And he was like, look at 2019 through 2023. We don't have any top 10 farm systems. And I was like, yeah, look at 2011 to 2.
Because all the players on the 2019 team were drafted and brought up through your farm system. But, when people are only fans in the most 4 or 5 recent years, because good things started happening, they don't know any better. You just gotta let them do their thing.
He called the Rangers the 2019 Nationals. He said we're the same team.
I would not go that far.
Scherzer into big contracts. I wouldn't either because this farm system is pretty loaded. So,
but on the pitching end,
so I don't like the pitching on this team. I'm gonna be honest. I think I just don't see them being better than last year unless the offensive players that were good in that 2021. Or was it 2022?
Which team?
Good year they had. The Mets.
21.
21. I don't see them being an above 500 team unless the people that were good in 2021 pick up the bats and start hitting again. And I don't see them starting to hit again. And like I said, I don't like some of their additions. Like Harrison Bader does not move me at all. Like Harrison Bader, say I was floating on top of the water, that's like adding 10-pound weights to my feet. That's the direction it moves me. Yeah. So I don't like that addition for that team. So,
Noah,
What?
the floor.
Sorry. I just put a really good line in our Poland group chat. Anyways, Kodai going down, sorry, Kodai Senga. Gonna miss your ghost for however long you're away. Yeah, just like we're saying, nothing's moving me. Edwin Diaz is back. We'll be hearing the trumpets again. It just won't be like as exciting as it was before, in my opinion. Yeah, Mets are gonna Met. Let's go Mets. Where are the Mets? Let's go Mets.
I do like that Senga and Fujinami are on the team together. That's kind of a cool little storyline for that. The rotation, nobody under the age of 30 is a worry. There's no one young that's going to be pitching innings for this team, which, when you get into the dog days of summer, that could be a real problem. So, man, those messages are slinging heat, I guess, on that group chat.
I mean, you can see him now. You can see him. So,
all right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
81
under.
81 wins, over
Under. That's very gracious. 81 under.
Yeah, especially you're saying Senga's out for a little bit. I think that's going to matter.
That was before Senga. That
Right.
was definitely before Senga.
So I'm going to take the under as well, probably closer to 75 type of win situation. Let's go to the Fish real quick. The Marlins, 84 and 78 last year. I think a over producing lineup and some really good pitching held them in the standings last year. Fangraphs has them right now, though, at 80 and 82, still around that 500 mark. No free agent signings on MLB contracts until today, when they signed Tim Anderson for a 1-year contract. And then they added catcher Kurt Casale as a minor league free agent. He might be the backup catcher. Good glove, not great with the bat. Could see some time. Who knows? So the fact that they didn't improve their team really in any facet worries me a lot, especially not having Sandy. Sandy's going to be out all year with Tommy John because he had that surgery October 6th. So there's no way we're going to see him pitching for the Marlins in 2024. So yeah, initial thoughts on the Marlins.
I'll go. What are we doing? You're in the big, beautiful city of Miami. It's been this way for 20 plus years? Your team has sucked. You've been nothing. You've had multiple MVPs. I don't know about multiple, but you've had an MVP in Giancarlo Stanton. That hasn't fizzled out in New York very well, but during his reign in Miami, arguably the best player in the league, right? You're not buyers. You're not sellers. I mean, you can't really sell. I don't know. Anyways, y'all know what I'm saying. You signed Tim Anderson. He sucks. He's not the Timmy Andy we used to know. Ever since getting his ass knocked out by my boy in Cleveland, he got that 1-2 piece. Even before that, it wasn't the same. See, we have some notes jotted down here. We have actually, Aden, you take the reins. You take the reins.
I take the
You're
reins.
very quiet. Yeah.
The bounce pass.
So the lineup, I feel like, it's hard to regress because I don't think the lineup was too insane last year. I think the wins are going to regress though. They had a negative run differential, made the playoffs last year. Team just wasn't that good in my opinion. The pitching did help a lot, but now Alcantara, he's out for the year. Cabrera's like he's gonna get traded, I think. Like he's been in rumors this whole offseason. I thought a deal with the Pirates was about to happen a couple weeks ago. I don't see Edward Cabrera not being traded. And then Luzardo's also been like in trade conversations, but they're wanting a really big package for him, which that's smart on them. Don't sell out. The poster boy for this franchise the last 2-3 years has been Jazz Chisholm, and he is just been so disappointing. Like he's possibly one of the most disappointing players that I've ever had the displeasure of like watching. He can't hit lefties. He can't like at all. He's an aura merchant. He's got all this aura just to suck. Like he went to center field, played good there. He tweeted before the season. He tweeted, "All you haters, I'm about to play 156 games," and yada yada yada. He didn't play 156 games. I don't know if he's ever played 140 games. And like you can't be the face of a franchise, which that's what he's been. I mean, when you think of the Marlins, you think of Jazz Chisholm, and not be able to hit lefties. He's a platoon player. Like that's embarrassing. It's just, I don't know. For being such a big social media presence and being as big of a presence for the team as he has got to do better. He's got to mature. Maybe get in the lab instead of being on Twitter all the time. Like it was cool at first, but now it's not cool because you're not producing. I'm really hoping Bell picks it up. Last year with the Guardians was just not the best. He started kind of showing what he could bring with the Marlins. Hope it stays like that. I really like Bell. Berger was a fun story last year. Hope he just continues to hit tanks this year. Just hit the ball as hard as he can, and that's it. De La Cruz had a decent year last year. It'd be nice to see him add on to that. And that's about it. Like you said, they don't have any good offensive prospects, but they do have really good pitching prospects. So that's why I think a trade's likely, especially with Edward Cabrera. Probably get some prospects of that range. So we'll see.
This feels like a team that should be selling on paper.
They don't need all these pitching prospects, and they really need some hitting prospects, like badly.
Yeah. They're banking on Luzardo and Yuri at the top, Braxton Garrett at the 3. All 5 of their guys in their projected starting rotation have less than 4 years of service time. So all of these guys still have team control for years. 3 of their 5 have under 2 years, so they're not even in arbitration yet. There's a lot of capital. There's a lot of capital that they could either A, try to extend long-term contracts, or B, move for, like I said, some bats in their system, because they definitely do not have any of those. I see that my sheet is being changed as I'm looking at it. So the Marlins over under 80.
Under. I feel like I'm setting records too high or something, like thinking the 80's a lot better than it is. I think they can win 80, but I'm going to say under because they're going to win 79.
Under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under as well. I don't think they're going to be too far off, but I don't think they're an 80-win team. They're somewhere in the 70s, I think, when the season ends, especially if they sell at the deadline. I think this Tim Anderson move might literally be a 1-year contract. If he's good at the All-Star break or has good numbers, they'll just move him to get more people coming in, which is a lot like the Washington Nationals on my projections. The Nationals last year finished 71-91. Probably better than what some people kind of thought. From an off-season standpoint, they added 2 lefty bats in free agency. Y'all's old favorite Joey Gallo and potential comeback player Jesse Winker, and then Nick Senzel came over as well this year. Dylan Floro is kind of a middle relief setup guy, definitely not a closer, not much strikeout stuff, but a good piece kind of in that 6th, 7th inning.
I kind of hate the Nationals for signing Joey Gallo because I kind of wanted to see him as a Rocky. Like, I think the people want Joey Gallo in Colorado. That's what we need. So I kind of hate them for this.
Cool. Yeah, it's the Nationals. What else is there to talk about? Let's see, we got Dylan Cruz. That's fun. Joey Gallo is going to hit a couple home runs and strike out.
I mean, they probably got the second best outfield prospect duo in the league. Number one, of course, being the Rangers, but Wood and Cruz is a really, really good duo, to be honest.
Very good.
Wood smashes the ball. Cruz just hits. I mean, he does basically everything, and he's a plus-looking defender. So
I believe
it's a really good duo.
I think they finished 4th and 8th. I think
4th and 8th.
James Wood was 4 and Cruz 8. I think is where they ended last year.
Ended last.
At the end of the last season on the MLB pipeline.
The new rankings came out. Hold up. I'll tell you what they are right now. I've got pissed so bad. I'm sorry. Holy crap.
I wonder why.
Oh, let me check this real quick. So Cruz is 7 behind Langford at 6, and then Wood dropped to 14.
Wood probably dropped to 14 because they're probably saying that he's ready to go, and so they're just making room for more names to come up.
Max Clark is 13, right above him. That's I don't know.
The lineup,
we'll find out.
It's a scary lineup and not a good scary way. CJ Abrams is becoming kind of a good quality player. Finding a guy to be your shortstop for the next 5 years is tough. And Abrams seems to kind of be that guy, at least. So they have that. Their biggest power threat that's not Gallo, because Gallo obviously has the threat to be a power guy, but right now it's Lane Thomas on this team. I mentioned Anderson as being kind of a move guy at at the trade deadline. Gallo and Winker both feel like flyer deals to me. If Gallo is, getting on base at a 340 clip and has 15 home runs, then he probably gets moved somewhere.
They got Gray and Gore. Really needing to see some more from Gore. Like he was thought of as one of the top guys a couple of years ago in the Padres system. So I'd really like him to kind of bring it out right here. Patrick Corbin is Patrick Corbin. Probably one of the worst contracts in the MLB. Trying to think of anyone that maybe surpasses that, and I can't really.
Strasburg.
Off the top of my head. Strasburg kind of, Strasburg sold his soul to beat that Astros team, so he gets a pass in my book.
Yeah, it's just $35 million sitting on the books, though.
Hey, they deserve it. They kind of crapped him over. So, I mean, this is a team that's going to regress. They had some fun offensive production last year from guys you weren't expecting it from. Candelario was having a good year. They got a good trade out of him. They didn't trade Lane Thomas, which I thought they would. Even though he has a little bit more team control, I just thought maybe, how low they are right now, get what you can out of him. They didn't do that. So when Wood and Cruz eventually make the jump, Wood would probably jump up this year at some point. Cruz also has the potential to. So that would be cool. Cruz, Skeens, and Langford all jumping up this year. That would be special. I don't know. They could be fun once those two come up, they're not going to be some team that's dominating, but I think they could steal a couple games from the NL East like they did last year. I talked about. I think they should steal a couple games. I don't think they're going to win as many as they did last year until they maybe get those guys up. But Washington fans, you aren't in purgatory like we said other teams are. Like, I don't like where the White Sox are now. Like, are they rebuilding? Are they trying to play with what they had? I have no clue. I really wish, which apparently they're asking for a lot on Cease, but that's for another video.
Yes, it is. So playoff odds right now, the Braves at 98% playoff odds with a 25% chance to win the World Series on Fangraphs current projections, which is insane. Crazy. It's actually the highest on Fangraphs as far as projections for World Series. The Phillies are 59% playoff, 3% World Series. Mets 32% playoff, 1% World Series. Marlins 30% playoff, less than 1% on the World Series. The Nationals less than 1%, and then a 0.00% on the World Series. So
shock the world.
Shock the world. If you want to go throw $10 on the Nationals, it might have a big payout. All right, final thoughts. Final thoughts on the NL East.
Just for context.
Final thoughts on the NL East.
For the people wondering why we've been laughing this whole time, I found an image of Aden's dad's autographed cards from Topps, and I blew it out into the Swing for Contact spreadsheet we've been looking at. But good times. Good to be back with the with the Gangy. Final thoughts with the NL East. I mean, Braves are gonna win it. There's nothing else really to say. I think here in a couple of years, this will be an interesting one because the Braves are right now. They can't get much better than they already are. So here in a couple of years, I think we'll see some regression from them. Maybe Phillies can rally up a couple prospects. Mets. Maybe Nationals can be what they once were, but that's not the case for now. So yeah, for the time being and for the next couple of years, Braves are going to absolutely run this division unless something catastrophic happens. So,
Aden,
that's basically what he said. I don't know. It's the Braves division to lose. The Phillies don't really have a chance unless they start off hot, but they didn't start off hot last year and they didn't do it the year before. So I don't know. Mets, Marlins, and Nationals are basically just a crap shot. You put a dartboard with 85 wins to 65 wins and you throw 3 darts at it, and honestly, it's probably about the same chance all of them have either or. So I don't know.
All right. Well, that will bring the first episode of season 2 to a close. The NL East wrapped up with the Braves as the projected winner from us. I think no surprises there.
Thanks for watching, guys. We're going to be working on a couple things this season, try to stay more consistent. Keep up with the Instagram, the Twitter, all that good stuff. Be on the lookout for all that. For all of our relatives and family members watching right now, we love you. Thanks for for watching this video. We're gonna see you in the next one where we talk about who, Ramey?
The NL Central.
The NL Central. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Peace.